everyone. Thanks for stopping by. This is me, 143. Pardon my Frenchie. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. So, the topic today for pet loss is, and this was an interesting question that was brought up to me, why does one pet loss or one loss of a pet, so say if you have multiple pets, why does one loss may hurt or last longer than a loss of another pet in your home? So, for instance, say if you have, 3 dogs, one loss may hurt a little bit more than a loss of one of the other pets, or it could just be animals in general. Maybe your dog dies and you're fine, but your guinea pig dies and for some reason you have a harder time with that loss. It happens. So, answer to that question is this. Well, it's a couple things. It's a couple different layers on it. I believe sometimes that we're connected to different animals. I think that once we get a pet, sometimes we're just we get connected to them. Our souls somehow connect to each other and we just form this bond, unlike any other. Doesn't mean that we don't, have a bond with our other animals, because I have 3 and I love all of them. And, I've had, several over the course of years, and, I've had bonds with all of my dogs, and I've suffered losses with all of my first dogs and loved them deeply and grieved over every one of them. But there was a couple that hit me a lot harder than some of the ones that have passed. And it didn't really matter on the way that they passed, because they all kind of passed differently. Some had passed at home, some had passed at the vet, some had passed suddenly, some had passed peacefully, some had passed of old age. So there was just different kind of ways that they had passed. I was very blessed, I guess in a way. Well, I guess there was one that was not in a tragic accident, but it was pretty traumatic on that one. But anyway, but not any kind of tragic accident where they got hit by a car or anything, thank God. Knock on whatever this is, plastic. So, anyways, that's what I believe, that sometimes we're really connected at the soul with some of the pets that we do have. And so, that's part of one reason. The next reason, I believe that whenever the passing does happen, it could be that you're going through something else. And what I mean by that, and it may not be, okay, so what I mean by that is this, is maybe you're suffering another loss. Maybe you're suffering a loss of a human that you loved. Or maybe you're suffering a loss of a job, or maybe you're suffering a loss of a friendship. There's several different kinds of losses, not just, death. And so maybe that's it. Maybe you're suffering some other kind of loss. Or maybe you suffered a loss or several losses over a period of time, and you didn't quite grieve those, and it's been built up. So when this event happens, it's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. And you just, it hits you all at once, basically. So it's tough. It makes it harder. And you can't, some of these things in life you can't control. Most of the things in life you can't control. you can control how you react to things, but it's hard to look at every single situation that we go through on a daily basis and say, oh, okay, well, this is how I'm going to handle this one. Because life can throw whoppers at us, let's face it. And, when it happens, especially with death, because death we usually do not have a timeline on, especially if it's sudden. We don't have time to prepare. We don't have time to prepare for reaction. And if it's a deep hurt, that makes it even worse. It feels like our lives are spinning out of control and we don't have a handle on things. And then we feel out of our mind, so to speak. And we feel like everybody's looking at us or judging us. And that's not good either, because people shouldn't be doing that. And I hate to say it, more than likely they're probably not. Sometimes I think we get in our heads about things like that. We're not being judged on half the things that I think that we are. And so we need to find more confidence in the area of that and let the grieving process go. We go the way that it's supposed to, flow the way that it's supposed to. Because that's the most important thing, is that when we do have these emotions, that we are able to take the natural progression of grief as it comes and let it flow, so that you don't have a situation where everything builds up. Now, some things are also just inevitable. Again, if you have that deep soul connection with an animal, then you're going to have, no matter what, you're going to have that hard-hitting grief. And, it's going to be a roller coaster, and it's going to take some time. Which, is hard. It's hard, but that's why there's support out there. That's why there's support groups. That's why you can, you have places to go where you can feel quote unquote normal, that you can find a community that will support you and say, yes, we get it. We totally get it. We know what you're going through, and it's okay. It's okay to feel these things. It's okay to work through these things. A lot of the times when we have deep grief when a pet passes, it's because maybe it brings up a trauma from a pet passing when you were younger. Maybe you didn't get a chance to say goodbye to a pet that passed when you were younger. It happens. When we're kids, a lot of those decisions are out of our control. And but nothing on our parents. I mean, our parents do the best that they can, just like when we're parents, we do the best that we can. And we make decisions, and are they, some of them are right, some of them are wrong. Lord knows I've made wrong decisions myself. And but you do what's you think is right for your family. So the most important thing is, when you do get hit with this hard grief, is to let it process, let it go through, and with each passing day and the feelings come up, make sure you go through them, because the more you bottle them up, the more they will continue to build and build and build. And then when that happens is when you get the explosions, and nobody wants that. But that's why some griefs are tougher than others. It's like I said, it could just be a series of things, and that's okay. Again, more than likely, it's a buildup of events. That happens for a lot of people. That you could see that too when you go out into the world and you're somewhere. Maybe you run into somebody that's rude to you. I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. If they're rude to me, thinking that, well, something else is going on with their life. It's not me. Maybe, something else happened to them, and that's fine. Whatever. I don't take a lot of things personally. So, but until next week, pardon my Frenchie, this is me, 143. Hit that like or subscribe button. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. Take care. Bye-bye.